Um, Working with operations with complex numbers is very similar to treating I like X. Okay, so you're going to have your real part and you're going to have your imaginary part, so almost like A plus BX, and we can't combine the two parts because the A doesn't have the imaginary component of it. Okay, so here we just have 2 minus 5i minus this whole binomial. So we have 2 minus 5i minus 10 minus 9i, and we're going to combine the real number parts. So 2 minus 10 is negative 8, and negative 5 minus 9i is negative 14i. The other thing you can do is your calculator actually has an I button on it. So we could type it in exactly as you see it. So 2 minus 5, and then the I is going to be second decimal. So second decimal, we'll put an I on your screen. Okay, so 2 minus 5i minus 10 plus 9i. Press enter. Okay, and then I have this in mode, so let me do this again. Alright, so then you get your 8 minus 14i. Alright, for multiplying, we're just going to distribute. So we get 4i minus 14. 2 times 7 is 14. I times I is I squared. However, I squared is negative 1. So this is really 4i minus 14 times negative 1. So this becomes the real part. This is 14. Negative 14 times negative 1 is positive 14 plus 4i. Okay. Generally, when you write complex numbers, so imaginary numbers complex, it's the real plus the imaginary part. So for standard form, you're always putting that real part first. So here again, we can check our work. We have 2i times the quantity 2 minus 7i. And there's your 14 plus 4i. Notice the calculator will automatically put it in standard form. Okay, so imaginary part second. For this one, you need to make sure to distribute. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then we have plus 2i, and then negative 12i, and then minus 6i squared. All right, so the 4 stays. This becomes minus 10i, and then this part is negative 6 times negative 1. So that's 4 minus 10i plus 6. So combining like terms, you get 10 minus 10i. Again, you can go and check your work. So we have 2 minus 6i times 2 plus I. That's 10 minus 10i. And then for the last one, if you'll notice, this is like a difference of squares. So that can save you some time if you notice. Notice we have negative 8, and we have a positive I and a negative I. So what's going to happen is your last term is going to cancel out. All right, so it would be, so for example, if you have A plus B times A minus B, that's what we have, where A is negative 8 and B is I, then this is A squared minus B squared. So what we have then is negative 8 quantity squared minus, all right, and then we have I squared, right? So this is going to be positive 64 minus I squared, but I squared is negative 1, so this is 64 plus 1, which is 65. All right, so let's double check that. We have negative 8 plus I times the quantity negative 8 minus I, and then when you get your 65, okay?